You reached under the seat for?
A knife. I always kept a knife in the car for the crazies and stuff because you can't travel with a gun. Nicole had come out, and we started having words about who is this guy, why is he here, what's going on.
And she says, "This is my house, get the F out of here."
Yes, and which I didn't like. Things got heated. I just remember Nicole fell and hurt herself. And this guy kind of got into a karate thing. And I said, well, you think you can kick my ass? And I remember I grabbed a knife. I do remember that portion, taking a knife from Charlie. And to be honest, after that, I don't remember. Except I'm standing there and there's all kind of...
What kind of stuff?
Blood and stuff around. I hate to say this, but this is not I'm sorry. Right. I know we got to back up again.
Right. It's okay. I'm going to back up.
This is hard.
This is hard. I know. I'm going to back up to
try to make people think that I'm
O.J. Simpson, Hall of Fame running back in the 1990s, acquitted for murder charges. The celebrity-turned-killer is the real-life form of a scary thriller. All of you must have heard about this case, unless you're living under a rock. O.J. Simpson's case terrorized America for years, and this bone-chilling case was resurfaced in the media when O.J. indirectly confessed to his crimes of murdering Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. The sudden unhinging confession and the memories associated with it still sends shivers down our spines. Let's walk you through all the aspects of the case spanning from 1995 to 2018.
Began last Monday with an image no one ever expected to see. O.J. Simpson in handcuffs. His ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, Ronald Goldman, the victims of a brutal double murder. It would end with an unbelievable drama played out on live TV. O.J. Simpson, murder suspect and fugitive, being pursued by police as the nation held its breath and Simpson's friends pleaded with the former football hero.
Give yourself up, man. Just stop.
The nightmare celebrity was arrested for double murder of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ronald Goldman on June 17, 1994, 5 days after the murder took place. Simpson was caught after he hid in the back of a sport utility vehicle driven by his friend A.C. Cowlings, trying to escape. In the testimony, Cowlings stated that Simpson had a gun to his own head. At that time, the law enforcement officers followed the vehicle at low speeds for more than an hour. Conveniently, the American villain was scheduled for a flight from LA to Chicago. To be exact, the flight was scheduled at 11:45 a.m. on June 12, 1994. The limousine driver, Alan Parker, arrived at O.J.'s residence and buzzed the intercom several times, getting no response for about half an hour. In his statement, Alan Parker said, "Yes, I saw a figure come down. Well, not come down, but I saw a figure come into the entranceway of the house, just about where the driveway starts. 6 foot, 200 pounds, all dark clothing, black male." The coming morning, Detective Ron Phillips called O.J. Simpson to inform him about his ex-wife's tragic death. His disturbing response was, "Who killed her?" Well, that response instantly raised a hackle from the investigation team. And without dilly-dallying, the investigation team thoroughly searched the helter-skelter crime scene to find solid clues. Some crucial evidence was found in the process. As you see, while investigating the bloody corpses lying on the floor near the entrance of the house at 875 Bundy Drive, the police found a single leather glove. This evidence was strikingly similar to the bloody glove found outside Simpson's home. Their suspicions were proved right when forensic tests confirmed that the blood found on the glove was from Simpson and the two victims. The police also found bloody shoe prints at Brentwood residence, which were considered as an important part of the murder monopoly. Later, they were found to be the exact match of Simpson's shoe size and were almost identical to the shoes he owned. Along with this evidence, Juice was also reported to have a wound on his hand. The forensic analysis showed that his DNA matched the drops of blood found at the Brentwood crime scene. Few pieces of the puzzle were also collected from O.J. Simpson's residence. A pair of socks having traces of Nicole's blood were discovered. The police had all the supporting evidence at that point. Not only that, some anonymous sources also revealed to the investigation team that Simpson had recently purchased a stiletto knife, the weapon of choice of the said murderer. Even after several searches, the investigators couldn't find the knife nor shoes that were in the possession of O.J. Simpson. Thus, there was no concrete evidence to prove their claims. Equipped with the evidence, the prosecution prepared the case despite knowing that their case was weak. The attorneys representing Simpson argued that the evidence had been tampered with. At the same time, they accused the members of the Los Angeles Police Department of being racist, going as far as to suspect the department of planting evidence. The team of lawyers representing O.J. labeled the leading detective, Mark Furman, of suspicious intentions. Still, the defense denied O.J. Simpson's possession of the gloves as they were found to be too small for the prime suspect's hands. Referring to this endemic and overt racism in the LAPD and the U.S., which incriminates black men so disproportionately and mistreats them so cavalierly, O.J.'s lawyers asked, how could you not have reasonable doubt about the veracity of the evidence and the honesty of the testimony against a black male? Apparently, this claim was enough to coerce the jury. After struggling for months, the battle was finally ended on October 3, 1995, and Simpson was found not guilty of the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. The public's reaction to O.J.'s verdict was racially divided. It seemed that the racial discrimination card played by the lawyers did its magic. A poll was conducted by CNN in which they interviewed 517 Caucasians and 400 African Americans from October 4th to 5th, 1995. The results showed that most African Americans believed Simpson was innocent and justice had been served, while mostly white Americans felt he was guilty. They were unsatisfied and thought that the verdict was a racially motivated jury nullification by a mostly African American jury, whereas most African Americans claimed that they were not bothered by the fact that the majority of the whites were extremely upset by the verdict in the Simpson case. But in reality, 4 in 10 whites and more than a third of African Americans were bothered by the other race's reaction to the verdict. Contrary to that, the majority of O.J. Simpson's associates were shocked by the verdict, especially Kato Kalin. During an interview with Barbara Walters, he said, "Yes, I think he's guilty. I was helping him pack stuff into the limo because he was going to Chicago. And there was a bag that was ready to be packed, and he said, 'Don't touch this bag,' and that bag was never found in a suitcase. You asked me off camera, 'What do you think?' And I whispered in your ear, 'I think they made a mistake.'" Not only O.J.'s former friends, but the general public also disapproved of the verdict. An especially disappointed fan commented, "He's clearly guilty. Just because a lot of black people were wrongly accused in the past, it doesn't mean that all of them were. And even if that police officer was racist, that doesn't mean he lied about the glove. It still had O.J. Simpson's blood on, plus the blood from the crime scene. Where did that come from? If he wasn't the criminal, then who was? That's what I don't like about the law. It overcomplicates simple things." Now recently, the lost video of an indirect confession of O.J. Simpson has been circulating on the internet. The video has generated a lot of suppressed hateful emotions towards O.J. Simpson.
We talk in this book about hypotheticals.
In the 12-year-old interview, which finally aired Sunday on Fox, O.J. Simpson was asked to speculate about the murders of his ex-wife Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman.
I don't think any two people could be murdered the way they were without everybody being covered in blood.
He was speaking with publisher Judith Regan to promote the book, If I Did It.
You reached under the seat for...
a knife.
In what was called a hypothetical account of the crime, Simpson said he and a friend named Charlie went to his ex-wife's house.
As things got heated, I just remember Nicole fell and hurt herself. And I remember I grabbed a knife. I do remember that portion, taking a knife from Charlie. And to be honest, after that, I don't remember.
This maniacal confession has totally shaken the people. His unnaturally calm voice and eyes void of any empathy for the victims was very disturbing and unsettling. The psychotherapist Dr. Jen Mann analyzes this confession, saying, "If we look at this in the broader sense, we have one of two things. Either we have someone who did this crime and is confessing to it in a very kind of pseudo-covert manner, or we have someone who is so deeply pathological and who is so lacking in empathy. We're talking personality disorder, material antisocial personality disorder, severe narcissistic personality disorder, to speak about your former wife's murder and the murder of another human being with such lightness and laughter. There's something very wrong, and it was Charlie. He's talking about having Charlie, who bought the knife. Is very hard to know if Charlie is an alter ego, some part of himself that he's describing, or if he's claiming that some other person actually there. Unsurprisingly, the people have reacted to this confession quite harshly. A keen-eyed fan commented, "When you're discussing a hypothetical, the words 'I remember' don't belong. Those words only belong in a statement when you're recalling certain details of an event that occurred." Another fan pointed out the plot holes in the confession and deemed the Dream Team a strategy to manipulate public view and win the trial, saying, "He's guilty. He knows he's guilty. Everyone knows he's guilty. And in America, you can have all the justice you can afford." He came up with the first Dream Team in public view. Corporations do this all the time. A bank of lawyers assures them of winning pretty much all the time. You won't believe, but O.J. Simpson is very much a character out of Shakespeare play. He was once a man who had everything: fame, wealth, and power, all of it. But when his psychopathic behavior and brutal crime came to light, his life took a turn for the worst. Well, this drastic transition from a celebrity to a cold-blooded murderer has undoubtedly traumatized the whole nation. That's it for today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.